All right, week 10 of web programming. Today, the lecture today is the last one with regards to the compulsory material for the assignment. As you already know, you have an assignment that is currently running, and the deadline of the assignment is on the 2nd of May. After today, you will be able to address it in full. So today, we will cover master and content pages, and whatever that means, and whatever relevant material that goes through. And that will conclude the material. Next week, I'm going to have a revision exercise that will combine all three ASP.NET features, components, whatever we have learned. And that will be the end of the first part, meaning the part before the Easter holidays. When we come back from the Easter holidays, we have 2 more lectures, which we will focus on preparing for the exam, and some new additional client-side features like geolocation, maybe drag and drop. I will see what the program includes, and we will prepare for the final exam, which I'm going to think about it during Easter and tell you what the format of the exam will be. Let me remind you that we have said that you should include 3 content pages, right? Was it not? And 1 master page. Is that what we said? Can you correct me? Thank you very much. So 3 content pages and 1 master page, at least, minimum. So today, this will make sense. What do I mean with content page? What do I mean with master page? And then all the other things, the components and the validation components, user interface and validation components will be added on those master and content pages. The final exams begin on the 24th of May. And if I'm not mistaken, our exam, CSC 209, is on the 31st of May at 9 o'clock, 9 to 11:30. That's it, 31st of May. This is if there is no changes, but this is with regards to the schedule that we are following every year. Now, I don't know if the schedule for this year has been announced yet. Let me see. Go to the website. But usually they are following the same format. If you had 1 exam, one examination period, then you know how the exams are structured based on the day and time. So final examination schedule, and it's conventional programs. No, we still have fall 2020 online. It's not spring 2021, but yeah, I believe it will be, as I have said, on the 31st of May at 9 o'clock in the morning. When the schedule is announced officially, I will confirm it. All right, let's begin. Open up your Visual Studio. Let's create a new project. It's a ASP.NET Web Application .NET Framework once again. We move on next. Let's call it ASP.NET master content pages. Save it somewhere where you can find it later on. I will save on my USB. Don't forget that at the end of the lecture, you will have to upload your solution in order to get the participation marks. So follow me on this tutorial. Always have this checked, and let's create it. In the next page, we select empty. If people are coming on, let me demonstrate this one, let me show you. We also need to do a little bit of marketing with regards to my next courses. So if anybody wants to know what's the next step of CSC 209, that is CSW 441. CSW 441. which is web engineering. If you come to that course, I'm teaching that as well. We will go on and use MVC, the Model Viewer Controller Architecture. We also are using authentication. So for example, allowing the users to log in using their Facebook and Google accounts and Twitter accounts, whatever we want. So we write the program for it. An MVC, which allow us to generate code. So we can create the database, and it will generate the appropriate views based on that database. Or the other way around, you create the views, and then it generates the database for you. This is what we learn in CSW 441, is web engineering. So it's one step further. But for us, we keep to the simple stuff, empty, and we click create. Empty, we click create. CSC 133, then CSC 209, this is the one that we're having right now, and then CSW 441 gives you the full picture of what you need to have if you want to follow a career in web development. I would say people that have scored high points in CSC 133 and they're scoring high points in CSC 209, maybe you want to consider it. And if you score high points in 441 as well, then I encourage you to look for a career or maybe even for an internship first in web development. The good thing about computer science is that we have a lot of directions. So if you're not good in one thing, you can be good in another thing. Same thing for information systems or whatever other is similar, computer science, related degree. Okay, can I get a confirmation that you have the project ready? Very good. One more thing I would like to say, when you graduate and you're going to apply for jobs, you may be looking for recommendation letters. Or even during the summer, if somebody's asking you for a recommendation letter in order to get an internship or a part-time job, whatever, I'm more than happy to provide a reference letter to any one of you, as long as you get at least in one course of mine the mark of A. Maxim, if you score less than A, don't even email me. We have to set a certain rule. In any course of mine, if you get an A, then I'm more than happy to provide a recommendation letter for you to the place that you will apply, either for a master's degree or for a job. Let's say, keep it in mind. If you want a reference letter from me, you may not want to. All right, so first thing today is to go and create, you see it's empty, a master page, which is kind of considered as a template page. Let's have it in action so you can understand what it is. So right click on the root node of project and go add, and we want to use a master page. It's not here in the most recently used because we haven't used it yet, so we have to go to new item at the top. And from here, let me see, yeah, it's not shown in the camera, right? All right, so let me find the exact what you need to select, and I will take a screenshot so you can also find it. So what I'm using is the search at the top. All right, now I'm ready. So I'll take a screenshot and share it with you in order to follow me on this step. So always is a good idea, if you cannot find the type of file you want to, you always search for it. So this should be shown in the camera now. All right, so search it up right here, master, and enter. You should be getting these three options. Web form with master page. These are the content pages that are coming up. So it's like web forms, which we have been doing up to this point, that use a master page. But first, we need to create the master page. So it's the second one. There's also a third option, a nested. So it's like an inheritance, one master page using another and then enhancing it with even more components. We're not going to use this one. So web forms master page and call it template.master. The extension should be there. Do not delete it. And when I tell you, let's go and create a content page, this is what I mean. That's it. Web form with master page. I will repeat it, but keep it in mind that this is what we're going to be using. For the project assignment, you need to have at least one master page and at least 3 of these. Web form with master pages, with master page. Click Add, and it will be added to the project. So let me go back to my Visual Studio and let's see what's different in this type of file. If we move on to the design, we will see no difference whatsoever. No difference. We can drag and drop and create anything we want. But if we come to the source, we will observe these content placeholders. There's one of them in the head, and there is one of them in the div. These content placeholders are very, very important. These are the areas that if you add something in these areas, they can be changed in a web form using this template. If you add something outside of these areas, of these content placeholders, that means any web form using this template will not be able to change. So in order to demonstrate it, let's go and add some things inside and some things outside. So we can see how the form that is coming up will behave. All right, so let's place the mouse here after the div, inside the div, but outside of the content placeholder. All right, and come to the design. So you can see that the mouse is over there. So right, here you'll see registration page. So I'm just typing something. Enter, and this is outside of the content placeholder. You can see that I'm outside. Please fill out the form below. Now, I could have dragged a label and created it. We can add whatever we want from this toolbox outside of the content placeholder. And as I have said before, anything we use outside, it's not edited, cannot be edited. We will see it. Now, come inside the content placeholder in the source and go back to the design. So this is where, if you use the mouse, you can identify where the content placeholder is. But I always advise my students to come to the source, place the mouse exactly where they want it, and when they go to the design, the mouse is at that location that you want to be. Right, let's drag a label. And we're going to call that name. Drag a text box next to it and leave it as that. Let me make sure that I'm inside the placeholder. You see, my text box is outside for some reason. So I'm going to cut it and I'm going to place it inside. I don't know how come I came outside of the content placeholder, my mistake, but you can see that I'm still inside, but using the source, I can verify it. Okay, so let's break once here. So we can have, there you are, it can have the space there. Let's talk. Okay. So let me show you what I'm doing. I'm coming after the text box, right? And I'm now changing the line by enter, enter. So you can see how the content placeholder expands, right? And this is the not edited area. So what we do is registration page. It's gonna be different if a student wants to register or if an instructor wants to register. Let's see, this is a scenario. So if a student wants to register, we're gonna say instead of name, I'm gonna change it a little and say student name. And also, I'm going to add another label. Make sure you're inside the content placeholder. If you're not, we're gonna change it in the source, don't worry. Student phone number. And right next to it, I'm gonna drag a text box. Oops. There you are. I'll use my cursors, my keyboard arrows left and right to navigate through. I have, let's add one more, a label, and we are going to ask for them to also have student address. Now, I could have been adding radio buttons, checkboxes, anything I want to. And I'm going to add a, which is going to say student registration. All right, so I have created content inside my first placeholder. Again, if you go to the source, there's the content placeholder. Please make sure anything we added is inside. If it's not, cut it and paste it inside. Those empty lines, we don't need them. Those breaks, also, we don't need them. This is the reason you have done CSC 133 first. So you can come to the code and adjust it any way you want to. So we know a couple of breaks here, a couple of breaks there, 2 more breaks there. So it's consistent. All right, can I get a confirmation? Are you with me? Have we created the first content placeholder? Very good. It may not make a lot of sense now. Don't worry, it will. Thank you, guys. Let me wait for 1 more minute for the rest. Okay, Yorgo, make it like as that. So come to it. And if anything is outside of the content placeholder, make sure you can, cut and paste it inside. That's all right. Let me give you some time by also explaining that this content placeholder has an ID. So it's important. We will use it later on. Let's actually change it into student content placeholder. And we're going to create one more for instructor content placeholder. This is the, like, if I was to create student registration page and instructor registration page, I will need 2 different pages, right? With the master pages, you don't need different. You will create the content for all of them. And then when we use a content page, which is coming up, we'll say show only this part, show only that part. So once we have created this first content placeholder, I want us to create a second one. Remember, these ones are the ones that we can change. Anything is outside, we don't have the option of changing. So After the first content placeholder, there is a break. Change the line. And let me demonstrate by finding in the standards toolbox, find the content placeholder component. If you cannot find it, just search for it. And drag it in the code this time, after the break. So we're not going to drag it in the design because it's not something that we see. You can do that if you want to, but I'm just demonstrating that you can also drag something in the source. And let's make the space in order to start adding in this content placeholder now. ID, instructor, content placeholder. Let's place the mouse between the opening and closing tag. And we're going to move back to the design, and we're going to now design the instructor registration page. Let me have a look at my scenario. Actually, I'm going to let me see. No, let's do it. So label, drag it in. Make sure you're inside the instructor. And we want here instructor name. So we are adjusting it accordingly. We're going to pick out the text box and we're going to place it next to it. Just to make sure that I'm inside, I'm going to go to source. Oops, there you are. Once again, I have dragged and dropped and I'm outside. So I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put it inside. Make sure you are inside the content placeholder. So I'm going to now, oops. No. Not add a break, so I'm going to go to the code and add a break here. A little bit sensitive. By adding a break there you are. It creates the space for me so I can add Tony inside or outside. No, I'm outside. So 2 breaks here. It has created the space for me in order to expand on it. You can see that it's adjusting right exactly on this, on the content that we create. All right, one more label. And if it's an instructor registration, we will ask for the instructor email. Textbooks. And nothing else. So if it's a student, we're adding 3 things. If it's an instructor, we only need 2 things. Change the line twice. And we also need a button, which will say instructor registration. All right. Now, this is one approach. Once we see the effect of it, I will also demonstrate that if you want, you can create just one of it, like the student, and then adjust the student content in order to display the second row, in this case, the instructor. Let's take it step by step. Just to demonstrate that we can also have content outside of the second placeholder, come outside of the second one, change the line once, and let us write copyrights AUC 2021. That's the message there. So it will appear here. Again, if I want to contract a label or I can add any of these components, that's it. Doesn't have to be specifically manual typing. And the parts that are going to be shown to the user irrelevant of the form, let's add a couple of changes on them. For example, let's use Control B to make it bold. I'm trying to, let me see, find the appropriate directory. That is not here. So let's go to the code. So I will apply to this part, strong. Please fill out the form below. I will close the strong command. You know what strong does? Converts it into bold. And also the copyright section, which is also something that will be shown. I will also add the strong command, the strong tag, so that we know whatever is in bold will be shown in every web form that is coming up. Confirmations, please. Do we have the template ready? It's a little bit sensitive, I know, dragging and dropping, creating the content placeholders. So I told you from the beginning that the source will come in handy. There will be time that you need to refer to the source view. There's the day. All right, so this is my template. This is not going to be shown to anybody, This is something that I want my content pages that are coming up to use and adjust accordingly. So right-click on the root node. We go to Add. We go to New Item. Remember what I told you to select, right? Search for Master Page. Search as Master. And I'll take a screenshot so you can see what you need to select and also how to name the file. There you are. So search master, use the web form with master page and call it student web form. Now, once you click add on this one, the next step will ask you, okay, you told me you want to use a template with this one, a master page. Which one do you want me to use? And it produces a list of all master pages that we have in the project. Right now, we only have one, template.master, so you only see one. If you had 2 or 3 or 4, all of them here, it's asking you to select which master page to be used as a template. So we select the one that we have and we click OK. Now, let's observe what we have right now. Open up this web form, the student web form. There you are. I have it already opened up. Let's go to the design first. Do you see what I was talking about? EUC registration page. Do you see that says please fill out the form below and copyright EUC? Can you change those? No, they cannot be touched. Even if you go to the source, you will see that there is no code here referring to the three sentences. They are not accessible. The only things that are accessible are the three content placeholders that the template provides. This is the one, let me show you, the one in the head that we did not use. I ignored this one, but we did not delete it, therefore it's still there. The student content placeholder that we created, and the instructor content placeholder. There they are, student, instructor. So it's like saying, if you want to make changes, these are the only three places that you are allowed to make changes. And your changes will appear exactly at those two locations. Now, we're doing a student registration page now. So we want to use the template as given. Yorgo, we added a web form. We did not add the master page again. We added a web form with a master page. No, that's okay. That's why we are recording this, so we can watch it back and correct our mistakes. So what we have, Johans, you can see it right here, student web form. You can see it here as well. So, since this is a student web form, it's a content page, what we want to do is to utilize the first part, right? So we created it, and now we want to use it. So in order for us to use it, we consider it's empty. How can we say, I want to have it exactly as it's presented in the template.master? Well, you come in here, you find the corresponding content placeholder, lines 4 and 5, and delete them. By deleting them, you're saying, I do not want to override it. Therefore, the content will appear. You see that? So if you have it in the code, it's like you are overriding it. Therefore, ASP.NET is waiting for your instructions of what you want, how you want to override it with. If you delete it, it's like saying, I want to use it exactly as it is been designed. And just by deleting those two lines, the content for the student appears. I know what you're thinking. This is impressive. I agree with you. When I'm going to design and getting an error, master page error, and Nicola, I don't know how to help right now because I need to see the code, but you know, once we complete the first run, I can put it back in so you can have a look during the break. Template master. If there is an error, that means probably something went wrong with the content placeholders. Can I ask, let's see, has anybody managed to show the student registration in the student web form? All right, thank you guys and girls. By the way, we cannot change these ones. I mean, there is no way for me to go and delete it. I'm trying to delete it, it doesn't happen. If you want to make a change, you need to make it here. So for example, if I say student, and I will say full name, I'm going back to the save student, full name, enter. Once I save, then my student web form adjusts. Look at that, student full name. So it's following the template. Okay, thank you, Theodore, for the tip. Nicolas and Yorgos, Theodoros help you out. If you save, use the second option to save everything. It may, errors may go away. Also, we have an instructor content placeholder. And if we delete it, it means we are overriding. We don't want to override it. Therefore, the contents for the instructor will appear, but we don't want that. So if we want to do something, just to demonstrate that we can override it, we come between the opening and closing tag of the instructor content placeholder, and we can write, for example, a name, classes start in October 4th, 2021. Let's say fall 2021 classes start in October 4th, 2021. So I'm writing a message which will, of course, be shown inside the instructor content placeholder. So I have adjusted it as a message because I know this is a registration for students. Thanks, Yorgo. Continue with whatever we are doing. Something is missing, you can have a look during the break. Don't fall behind to the rest of them. Now, let's go to the template master. Let me show you a couple more things. Click on this. We can actually, what I want to select is the div. There you are. So the div is defined there. If you can select it in the master page, or if you cannot select it from there, you can drop down the combo box and find the div tag. Once you select it, it will appear. And we can do this. I can change the form width. So it doesn't have to be that long if I'm not going to use that space. So I can change the div's width and height accordingly. So by doing that, also stay here. Let's find the background. Let's also find the option to change the background. Let me see what I want here. It's going to be in the style. This is div, so this is HTML5. So we have to go to style, click on the three dots, and the properties will appear for formatting, styling the div. And if you go to background color, we can, for example, set a yellow color. And let's save. What happened to my, let me go back to the div tag. Is it the form? Yeah. So, no, it's the div. I should be changing the, what happened there? That's my div, and I want it to be that much. Yeah. So just, minimize the div area. Just, any width, it's okay. And we also assign the yellow color. If we save it, we can see that it adjusts in the content page. So once again, let me point out what we have done. I'm selecting the div, and I have go to the style. I've clicked on the three dots and went to background and changed the background color to yellow. Also, in position, we could have done it from here. Width, let's everybody assign 515. and height 615, so that we are, consistent. And this is the generated CSS style rule. We click OK, it's been adjusted, we save the changes, and we can see that they are reflected on the content page. Confirmations, please. So for the project, you have to create a master page that at least 3 content pages will follow. So the template is anything that goes outside that is constant in every page, and anything that goes inside that is adjustable, change in the rest. All right, let's go and create the second one. Yorgo, try now with the second one, the instructor web form. And we're going to repeat the process. You can see what went wrong. You can delete the student web form and then recreate it. It's not that we added anything. We just deleted something. We did not add anything, just this message. So let's repeat the process. Right-click on the root node. We go Add, New Item. We search Master. We select Web Form with Master Page. And we're going to name it Instructor Web Form. I'm going to take a screenshot and show it to you. I'm just creating it now. There you are. So be careful. Number 1, search master. Number 2, select web form with master page. Number 3, name it instructor web form.aspx. You can see the extension in this one is ASPX. Before it was .master. And click Add. Once you click Add, it will ask you, you want to connect it with which master page? There you are. And we only have one, therefore we need to say that template.master. Click OK. So we will have a second web form with master page. We call that content page. And it will have this content. The content pages always include the content placeholders. It's like they're saying, this is the only thing you can change. I'm not letting you see any other content. These are the only 3 parts that you can actually do something. And just by having them there is an indication that we want to override them, meaning empty content. That's why you see them, that they appear, but they appear empty. It's because we are overriding them with empty content. All right, let me ask the audience, what should I do now if I want to see the instructor registration components? Remove which one, Khalil? Bravo on that. That's the correct answer. You have to delete lines 6 and 7. So you say, I don't want to override it. Please give it exactly as it's in the template. So remove these 2 lines, and just by saving, if you go to the design, you will see that content has appeared. It's like magic. So you only need to do the work once, and then you can have 100, 200, 300 content pages that inherit and use any setting you apply in the template. That design can be what goes outside, what goes outside before, what goes outside after, the colors. It can also be the font size. It can be the height and the width, whatever you want to. And then every web form uses that. They are inheriting it. So the student remains empty. I can just leave it as it is. I don't want to delete it, because if I make the mistake to delete lines 4 and 5, don't do it, I'm just showing you, then the information for student will appear. We don't want that. So we want to have those 2 lines there, meaning we are overriding the content with empty content. There you are. If we want, we can write something in there, or we can just leave it empty. Now, let's see what we have. Let's run it, because this is just the design. We don't run the templates, the masters, we run the web forms. So let's run first the student web form. So you click on it to have it open up. Then we go run it. And at the tone, I think we right click and say view in browser, or we are running it. No, we are running it in this part of the course. So I'm waiting for mine to appear, and I will show you. Once it opens up, I will share my screen and show you. You can also confirm, please. All right, mine is ready. There you are. This is a website that I can actually interact with. And click the button. We will add functionality in a while. And if I change the URL there to say instructor web form, it will actually show me the instructor web form. And there is no indication that there was a student part here that is missing. Width and height as we have defined it. If we want less, we can define less. If we want more, we can define more. Anybody that is seeing this does not understand that it's a part of a template. They see it as one. But if they navigate through the one or the other, you will see that it remains, the template remains the same. Thank you, Khalid. Let's go back to the design, make one more change on the design, and then after the break, we'll proceed with the functionality, because we also have functionality. All right, let's stop the project from running. And what I want us to do is have a link from one page to another, so we don't need to run it 2 times in order to connect it. So let's go to the source of the student web form, please. And I told you to write this here. Let's delete it. Please find a hyperlink and drag it inside the 3rd content placeholder. So if we go to the design, we will see a hyperlink. Now, can somebody remind me? I'll change the text first. Go to instructor registration. What is the property that I need to access in order to define which page to open? What's the property? Nobody remembers? Should I repeat the question? Navigation URL. Thank you, Yorgo. So navigate URL. We click on that. We click the three dots. And from the pop-up window, yes, you can see it in the camera, we're going to be sending to instructor web form. Click OK. The link is created. Save. Let's do the same for the instructor web form in order to have a connection between the one and the other. So we go to the source, and now because the student placeholder is on top of the instructor placeholder, the link will appear on top, but that's okay. So there's a space there. I'm going to open up once again my hyperlink component, drag it there inside the content placeholder, student content placeholder. So I'll now move to the design. There's the hyperlink. I'll change the text first to say, go to student registration. Is this what we said before? Yeah. And I'm going to use my navigate URL property in order to send them to student web form. So now they are connected. I connected them for the sake of the example. That's it for, you can do whatever you want. But yeah, please, I mean, you have to, for the assignment, the pages need to be connected. So I need to be able to go from one to the other without having to run the project again. So please use links or please use redirections from one page to another. Let's test it out. I'm going to run student web form. So I have it opened up here, and I'm going to run it. And using the links, I can now travel from one to another. It's coming up. There you are. So go to instructor registration, go to student registration. I'm now connecting the two. That's if I leave a break there, it will be maybe a little bit better. We're gonna do this right now. And then after the break, we will have the functionality of the buttons. So let's fix a little bit the design. Let's go back to the Visual Studio, stop the project from running. And having the hyperlink selected, I'll move on to the source. And I'm going to place before a break, and after that, another break. So by doing that, I have a little bit of space between that and the button. And I'll do the same for the instructor web form. I'll click on the hyperlink so I can have it selected. I will move to the source, have a break before, have a break after. Yeah, a little bit better presentation. All right, this is a very good point to stop for a small break. Let's say 12:50, we continue with the functionality. That's it. So I'll see you in approximately 20 minutes. Thank you. There you go, Ben. I didn't make a design. Which one? How can I change the body to div? Okay, so Yorgo, you have the first one. You go to the first one. One thing you can do with the template, you mean, you go to the source and you find the div, right? In the source, click on it and you will get the properties. Find style. Click the three dots, background, change it to yellow, position, change it to what you see here. You're welcome. I'll see you in 15 minutes approximately. All right, let's get going, please. Come back if you are away and give me a quick confirmation that you're with me so we can proceed with the functionality. And then I will introduce the first revision which I have prepared for you during the break. And I'll tell you more about it. So let's go to the student web form. I would like to point out that with regards to the template, we have created the interface. The question that arises is that we have a couple of buttons here. If I proceed and assign implementation with regards to what happens if students click student registration button here, will the implementation also go through to the web form that uses it? This one? And similarly, can I assign implementation on the content page that uses the approximate design from the master page? So let's go and answer those questions together. First, let's go to template.master, find the student registration button, and double click on it. Bam, bam. A template master page is a ASP.NET page. Therefore, the rules apply the same as what we have talked about during our previous two lectures. Meaning, if a button in a component is double-clicked, then we move on to the fourth view, the code behind view, CS, and a function is created for us that will accept any coding in order to process the form accordingly. So, with regards to the students, I'm going to do it here. Let's make sure that we have the same name. So the first text box is called text box 1, which is the name. Student phone is in text box 2, and student address it's in text box 3. If you have different IDs, make sure you use those ones. All right, so string name equals textbox1.text. So I have picked up whatever the user has typed in the first one. Phone, textbox2.text. Yes, I know phone could be a number, should be a number, but in order for us to process it and just display it, print it, we don't need to convert it to a number. String, what was the other one? Let's see, address. Textbox3.text. So I have picked up anything the user has typed inside those three text boxes, and now I'm going to just produce a pop-up message. Remember, for the assignment, you can do some processing, like some if-else statements, and see, depending on what the user provides, you may adjust either the message, the functionality, or even the design. So we're going to do a system.windows.forms.messagebox.show, and let's say message, and I'm going to go and define the message here. Right, this produces a compiling error. We know what we have to do. If we click Alt Enter on it, we can see that there is no proper suggestion for import. So let's remind ourselves how we can add the appropriate package reference. We click on the references options here in the Solution Explorer, right click on it and say Add Reference. From the window that opens up, let me see, it's not shown in the screen, so I'm going to have to once again find it and then share the screen with you, the print screen with you. It's coming up right now. So we need to search forms and then check the system.windows.forms package and click OK, and it will be added onto the project, and therefore we can Alt Enter now and solve the problem in system.windows.forms. I didn't even have to Alt Enter. Automatically, it has identified the namespace system. All right, message, hello, and then we're gonna append the name. Change the line. Thank you for your registration. I'll change the line here so you can see it in the camera, but you can continue in one line if you want to. We will call you for an appointment at, and we're going to add the phone. There you are. Go back inside to the quotes and change the line. A welcome package will also be posted to you in the address and at the address. So the first question I have for you is, we have defined the functionality in the template.master. Can you please run the student web form and tell me if the functionality is being inherited to that content page? We never run the top master pages, all right? If you try to run the master page, I think you're not gonna get it on the browser. I'll demonstrate it myself. So I'll go to student web form, and I'm going to run it once again. Fill up the form, click the button. Does the functionality work or not? Thank you, Johannes. Thank you, Nicola. So there you are. My name is Dimitris, 99887766. I live in Atlanta, Nicosia, whatever. Student registration, bam. We get the pop-up window appearing on the screen. You may not see it, but there you are. I'll print screen once again in order to prove that it's working. So we just proved that if you apply functionality in the template page, it is inherited to the content pages that use that template page. Very good. Thank you, Yorgo. Hopefully the rest as well. I'm sure you are. Now, let's see part number 2. Instead of now adding the functionality in the template page, can we add the functionality in the instructor web form with regards to the instructor. So please come into the instructor web form. There's the button instructor registration. Double click on it. Can we add the functionality there? Anybody? Double click doesn't work, so right click view code. We come in and this is the behind code view for the instructor web form. Can we create by double clicking on the button a corresponding? No, we cannot. Thank you, Khalid. So the functionality for this one must go again to the place that inherited it. I want to make this clear. The instructor registration button was inherited from the template. It was not added by us here. So the place that creates it is the place that is responsible for the functionality as well. Now, if I was to go and add another button here, then I would have to define the functionality here because this is the page that created it. But be careful, if I add a button, that means I overwrite the existing design. Therefore, I'm not going to get those three components. So it's a give and take. But keep it in mind, the rule is the place that creates the design, it's the place that is responsible for the functionality. I hope that's clear. So once again, we have to go to template master, double click on the instructor registration, and it's working just fine. Even if you forget the rule, you will double click in order to get the appropriate function generated. So it doesn't work. You can just double click as many times as you want, it doesn't work. So it's like it's telling you this is not the place for you to define the functionality. You need to go to the origins, the place that it was designed. So again, if you add a button here, then yes, you have to define the functionality here. Like, let me just demonstrate it here in the student registration. If I was to add a button there, then yes, of course, this button can be clicked, double clicked, and you define the functionality. I hope that's clear. Let me undo because we don't want that right now. And template.master, double click instructor, go back and let's do the same thing. String, we're getting the name from what's text box. That's text box number 4, and the other one is text box number 5. An email from text box number 5. So I can create a system.windows forms.message box. So I'm going to find the name here, the message here. Welcome, and then add the name. Information has been sent to your email, and add the email. Let's say relevant information has been sent to your email, blah, blah, blah. And then the columns here as well, just to make a little bit better presentation. All right, once again, can you please run it and confirm that now the functionality is being inherited to the instructor page? I'll do the same. By the way, I'm going to try to run the template master, so I'm going to run it. Let's see what we get. Thank you, Nicola. This is what we get. And even if I force it by saying template.master on the URL, there you are. It cannot actually access the template master. It's not something, it's not an extension that can be shown in browsers. But if I say instructor web form.aspx, ASPX is a valid extension, there you are, you have the form appearing in front of you. So once again, I'm Dimitris, test.at gmail.com, bam, and I do get the pop-up window. In case you don't see it in front of you, make sure you check in the status bar. Sometimes it comes minimized, so you may miss it. And there's the proof. Any other person other than Nicolas? Very good. Thank you, guys. All right, let's go to Moodle. By the way, with regards to this example, I would like you now to close it and proceed to upload it to the submission box you will see on Moodle. And then let's talk about the first revision exercise. So zip it, go to Moodle, you'll find the submission box in week 10. Proceed and upload it, please. At the same time, I will reveal the first revision exercise, which it's available today and it's until Sunday. It's not compulsory for you to do the revision exercise, but it will help you a lot with the assignment and with the final exam. Next week, I'm going to solve the second revision exercise with you here in class. So one, it's for you to try it out. The other one will be solved together in class. So let me give you a couple of minutes to upload your solutions. Let me see who will upload today. So Johans is submitting right now. Nobody else? All right, I'll give you a couple of minutes. Give me a thumbs up in the chat once you upload it so I can proceed with the revision exercise. Thank you, Nicola. All right, Johans. Thank you, Christina. Okay, Khalil, let me emphasize with regards to the checklist for the assignment, what I'm expecting from you. You can see the third part is asking you, master page. This is the file, so you need to define what file it is, just the file. If you have more than one, then tell me all the master pages you have created. Content page. This is the file I'm referring to which web forms are used in the master page. You can have, if you want, web forms that do not use a master page. Remember, but as I have said, I'm expecting you to have at least 3 content pages and 1 master page. And inside the content pages, you can apply all these compulsory web form controls and validation components. So you don't need to create additional ones. But if somebody wants to create other web forms that don't use a master page, more than happy, I don't mind. And then content placeholders, I'm looking for it to be defined in the content pages where they have been applied. Next thing, I'm referring to the content placeholders. All right, can you hear me? I was thrown out, so okay, so I'm back now. So let me go back to my checklist once again. I believe, did you hear about what I explained for this section? So let me specify here, content placeholders. I'm expecting you to define in the web form and also in the master page, where are the content placeholders? All right. So in the master page, which lines, and then in the content pages, which lines. This will give me an understanding of that you guys understand what is a content placeholder. All right, last but not least, revision exercise. Let me present it to you. It's a revision that uses all 3 classes that we have covered, and they are part of your assignment. It's actually an exercise I was given to my students as a final examination. So you will see that I'm referring to them and providing marks for every one of them. Similar to what we have done today, but a little bit more elaborated. So you're asked to create a website for the EUC gym, where students and lecturers can be assisted in setting goals and making a plan to achieve them. Homepage, bam. So it's a structure that you need to have. It has some rules here that you need to follow and some necessary validations with the summary of errors below. If student asks the username and password, student login, you will be directed to the student's portal. Then you use this command to be redirected to web form 2, which is this one, lecturer login. Same thing for the instructor's login. You will be redirected to the lecturer's portal. If something is added that unknown, let me see, am I giving you what is considered to be a valid? There you are. If the user enters the keyword student as a username, then it's a valid login, irrelevant of the password. I think the password must be a 3-digit number. That's the rule. If the user adds the word lecturer, then you have to produce this pop-up, which means it's a valid login for lecturers. Again, password, 3-digit password. If there's any other word other than student or lecturer, you produce this message. So this is what I'm asking you to do for the assignment as well. Adjust the content based on the user input. And this is the master page. So this should be done first. And then the login of student and lecturer must be using this master page. And this is the second web form. Web form 2 with regards to students. And this is web form 2 with regards to lecturers. Again, they have to use the master page, and the content must be adjusted accordingly for students and lecturers. They select whatever, they click the button. This is what you need to produce. I have multiple screenshots that gives you an idea what you need to produce as a message box. The submission box is now open for this one, and it's going to be open until Sunday midnight. And on Monday, I will see you again for another revision lecture. This time, we're going to solve it together. Your goal, exactly, is to help you for the assignment and also help you for the final exam. No, you are getting a participation mark. So at the end of the semester, once you get your final mark, if anybody needs some assistance with regards to getting a better mark, I will be looking at participation. And one of them is the revision exercise. If somebody attempts it, I will consider it as an effort. Therefore, if somebody's close to an A, somebody's close to a B plus, we can make that happen as long as there is participation. So it's not compulsory, but it's encouraged. And yes, it will help you with the assignment. So try to solve it, and we're going to talk about it on Monday, next Monday together. So don't ask me for the solution yet. I'll demonstrate the solution next Monday. And we will also proceed and solve another one together. All right, that's all I had for you for today. If there are any questions, please stay behind so I can discuss them. If you don't have any questions, then you are free to go. Thank you very much. Have a lovely week. Elayor, what's the questions? Correct. Content pages are the ones connected exactly. Like what we done today, student web form, instructor web form. So you need 3 of those. You need 1 master page, at least. If you want to do more, no problem. Anything else? Very good. Bye-bye. Anybody else? Can I help anybody else? You too. Bye, Khalid. All right, then. I'm concluding the recording and the lecture.